What you are about to watch is a classified information. Beloved, what you are about to hear is confidential information that by law is not meant to be shared with the general public because of the many concealed secrets it carries and how it can trigger unrest in the hearts of many viewers. But God, by His mercies, has given the insight and wisdom to share this reality. We pray that anyone who is opportune to come across this video will treat it with all urgency and utmost importance. If you are watching this video, it is not a coincidence. Tell us where you are watching from in the comment section, and if there is a prayer request that you feel we should join hands with you on, please state it as well so that our prayer team can continue to include you in our daily prayers. I will now begin reading this experience. My name is Blake. My surname will remain withheld for reasons that will become clear as you watch further. I am 34 years old, a husband, a father of 2 beautiful girls, and a man who has seen things that most people will never see in their entire lifetime. Before I share what happened to me on September 19, 2025, I need you to understand something. What I am about to tell you is not fiction. It is not the ramblings of a traumatized soldier looking for attention. And it is certainly not something I share lightly. In fact, there are aspects of what I know that I cannot share at all because they remain classified at the highest levels of military intelligence. For 12 years, I served as a Navy SEAL, Team 6. I operated in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and locations whose names I am forbidden to speak even now. In those years, I saw the underbelly of global conflict. I sat in briefings where information was shared that never makes it to the news. I read intelligence reports that would keep ordinary citizens awake at night if they knew what was contained in them. I participated in operations that the public will never know happened. What I am trying to say is this: those of us who serve in classified operations carry knowledge that the average person does not have access to. We see the movements behind the curtain. We understand the tensions that are building between nations long before they become headlines. We know things that are coming because we are positioned at the front lines of information that most people will never encounter. This is why I am asking you, whoever you are reading this, to take what I am about to share very seriously. I am not a prophet. I am not a preacher. I am a soldier. But on September 19, 2025, at precisely 0217 hours, during a covert operation in the mountains along the borders of eastern Ukraine, my heart stopped beating. I was clinically dead. And in those minutes when my body lay lifeless on frozen ground, I was shown things that changed everything I thought I knew about the world and what is coming upon it. I have shared this testimony on other platforms before, but I never speak without first seeking the Lord's instruction. For weeks, I have felt an urgency in my spirit that I could not ignore. During my prayer time, the Lord made it clear that I should share this message here with Heavenly Connect. He impressed upon my heart that more of His children need to hear what I was shown. So I am being obedient to His voice. Please do not scroll past this casually. Please do not dismiss this as the words of a man who has seen too much combat. Those of us in classified operations know things. We see patterns. We understand what is being set in motion behind closed doors. And what I was shown during those minutes when I was dead confirmed everything I had suspected and revealed things far worse than I could have imagined. Take this seriously. Your life, the lives of your loved ones, and the fate of nations may depend on how God's people respond to this warning. Now let me tell you what happened. The operation that night was classified. But those who served in the region during that period, those who are conversant with the movements along the borders of eastern Ukraine in September of 2025, will know exactly what I am speaking of. They will remember the tension that hung in the air like the smell of gunpowder before a firefight. We were a team of 8. Our mission was to extract a high-value asset who possessed critical intelligence about weapons movements across the border. We inserted by helicopter at 2,300 hours, rappelling into darkness so thick it seemed to swallow the sound of the rotors above us. The ambush came from 3 directions simultaneously. They had been waiting for us. The first RPG struck 20 meters to my left, and the world erupted into chaos. I heard Rodriguez go down first, then Martinez. I was providing covering fire when I felt the impact. The round entered through a gap in my body armor, just below my left arm. I felt it tear through muscle and organ, felt the hot rush of blood pouring down my side. I fell. The ground was cold against my face. I could hear my teammates shouting my name, but their voices were fading. Jackson reached me first. I watched him tear open a medical kit, watched his hands press against my wound. But I knew. Deep in my soul, I knew that no amount of pressure could stop what was happening inside me. The last thing I saw before everything went dark was the sky above me, stars scattered across the blackness like diamonds on velvet. And then I was gone. Death is not what I expected. There was no tunnel of light, no choir of angels singing me home. One moment I was lying in that frozen village, feeling my life drain into the soil of a foreign land, and the next moment I was standing. Not in pain. Not cold. Just standing. I looked down and saw my body below me. Jackson was still working, performing chest compressions now while Williams called in the emergency extraction. I could see the blood, so much blood, staining the snow around my physical form. I watched as if I were observing a scene from a movie, detached and strangely calm. But then something caught my attention. Something that made me turn away from my dying body and face what lay before me. Flags. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Laid out on the ground in neat rows, stretching as far as I could see in every direction. The flags of every nation on earth, each one resting flat against a surface that seemed to be neither ground nor sky but something in between. I saw the stars and stripes of my beloved America, the Union Jack of Britain, the tricolor of France, the rising sun of Japan. Every nation, every people, every country that had ever existed represented in that vast expanse of fabric and symbol. I had heard stories from other soldiers who had died and returned. They spoke of angels, of Jesus, of deceased loved ones waiting to greet them. But my experience was different. There were no beings, no voices, no welcoming committee. Just me, standing alone among the flags of the world, confusion settling over my spirit like a shroud. I walked among the flags, my boots making no sound against whatever surface I was walking on. I reached down and touched the American flag, felt the fabric beneath my fingers. It was real as anything I had ever touched in my physical life. The stars and stripes that I had served under for 12 years, the symbol of everything I had fought and bled and nearly died for more times than I could count. That is when I heard it. A sound like nothing I had ever heard before. A chittering, scratching, crawling sound that seemed to come from everywhere at once. I spun around, my training kicking in, my hand reaching for a weapon that was not there. And then I saw some creatures. They came from every direction. Creatures that looked like soldier ants, but massive, each one the size of a dog. Their bodies were black as midnight, their mandibles clicking with a hunger that seemed beyond the physical realm. They moved in perfect formation, millions upon millions of them, flowing across that strange landscape like a living tide of darkness. And they were eating the flags. I watched in horror as the first wave reached the outer edges of that vast display. They fell upon the flags with a ferocity that defied description, tearing and chewing and consuming until nothing remained but scattered threads and fading memory. Country after country disappeared beneath their onslaught. I saw the flag of a small European nation vanish in seconds, then another, then another. The creatures showed no preference, no discrimination. They devoured the flags of allies and enemies alike, of powerful nations and small ones, of ancient kingdoms and young democracies. Nothing was spared. And they were getting closer to the American flag. Something broke inside me. Whatever detachment I had felt while watching my physical body die evaporated in an instant. I ran. Not away from the creatures, but toward them. Toward my flag. The flag I had sworn an oath to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The flag that had draped the coffins of brothers I had lost in battle. The flag my daughters would learn to pledge allegiance to in their elementary school classrooms. I threw myself between the creatures and the American flag, my arms spread wide, my body a shield against their advance. I kicked and swung and fought with everything I had, but my blows passed through them as if I were made of smoke. They did not even acknowledge my presence. They simply flowed around me, their mandibles finding the fabric I was trying to protect. I grabbed the flag in my arms, clutched it against my chest, tried to pull it away from their reach. But it was torn from my grasp, thread by thread, star by star, stripe by stripe. I watched the last remnants of old glory disappear into their consuming darkness. And I wept. I fell to my knees in that empty space where the flags had been, and I wept like I had not wept since I was a child. Not for myself. Not for my dying body in that Ukrainian village. But for my nation. For all nations. For what I somehow knew this vision meant. Over the years, that flag had come to represent everything to me as a soldier. It was the nation's integrity. It was the blood of those who had died defending it. It was the promise of freedom that we carried into every battle. And seeing it being eaten, consumed by those dark creatures, left me broken in ways I cannot fully describe. The tears burned down my cheeks as I knelt there, broken and helpless. I had faced death more times than I could count. I had looked into the eyes of men who wanted to kill me and had not flinched. But this, watching everything I had served and sacrificed for be consumed by forces I could not fight, this shattered me in ways that no bullet ever could. I do not know how long I knelt there. Time had no meaning in that place. But eventually, I became aware that something was changing. The emptiness around me was shifting, reforming, becoming something new. I raised my head and saw the flags again. They were back. All of them. Restored to their positions as if the devouring had never happened. The American flag flew proudly once more, its colors bright and true. Hope surged through me. Perhaps what I had witnessed was not prophecy but warning. Perhaps there was still time to prevent what I had seen. But that hope lasted only seconds. The fire came from nowhere and everywhere at once. Not natural fire, but something else entirely. Flames that burned with colors I had never seen, colors that have no names in human language. They fell upon the flags like judgment from heaven, consuming them not slowly like the ants had, but instantaneously, completely, absolutely. I ran again. I threw myself toward the American flag once more, desperate to save it, to do something, anything, to prevent its destruction. But before I could reach it, the flames found it. I watched the stars and stripes curl and blacken and turn to ash. I watched that ash scatter on a wind I could not feel. Every flag. Every nation. All of them burning. All of them turning to nothing. And there was not a single thing I could do to stop it. I collapsed again, my spirit broken beyond repair. What was the point of fighting? What was the point of anything if this was what awaited us? I had spent my entire adult life protecting my country, and in the end, it meant nothing. The flames did not care about my service. The destruction did not pause for my protests. I lay there in the ash and the emptiness, ready to surrender to whatever came next. That is when Jesus appeared. I felt his presence before I saw him. A warmth that had nothing to do with the flames that had consumed the flags. A peace that should have been impossible given what I had just witnessed. I raised my head, ash smeared across my face mixed with tears, and I saw him. Jesus. He was walking toward me across that devastated landscape, his white robes untouched by the ash that covered everything else. Light emanated from him, not the harsh light of fire but a soft, golden radiance that spoke of love and mercy and power beyond human comprehension. His face was kind but serious, his eyes holding depths of sorrow and compassion that made fresh tears spring to my own. I tried to stand, tried to compose myself, tried to remember some appropriate greeting for the King of Kings. But my legs would not support me. I remained on my knees, which, I would later realize, was exactly where I belonged. He reached me and knelt down, bringing his face level with mine. And then he did something I will never forget as long as I live. He reached out and took my hand in his. The contact sent waves of peace flooding through my entire being, washing away the horror and despair of what I had witnessed. He helped me to my feet, his hand still holding mine, his strength flowing into my weakness. I tried to ask him what everything meant, the flags, the creatures, the fire. My voice was hoarse from weeping, but he understood. He began to reveal things to me. He told me that he was going to show me what is to come, and that I must carry this message to his children. The landscape around us shifted and changed. Suddenly we were standing in what appeared to be a great throne room, though no earthly architecture could have contained its vastness. And before us, like a living tapestry, scenes began to unfold. He revealed to me that in the days to come, there will be a great exodus in the spiritual realm. He showed me how the boundaries between the seen and unseen worlds will grow thin. He let me see his angels preparing for battle, and at the same time, the forces of darkness marshalling their armies. I watched as he gestured toward the visions before us. I saw spiritual beings moving across the face of the earth, some radiating light and others cloaked in shadow. He told me that the flags I saw represent every nation of the world. He explained that just as I witnessed them disappear due to the devouring and the burning, so shall it be in the days to come. He revealed to me that many nations and countries will go extinct because of what is approaching. My blood ran cold at this revelation. I wanted to know how entire nations could simply cease to exist. He then showed me something about history. He brought to my mind what we call the Second World War. He revealed to me the death toll of that conflict, what my people call the Holocaust, and the many battlefields that claimed millions upon millions of lives. He made it clear to me that it was never his will for such destruction to come upon his creation. He showed me that it is against his very nature, against the purpose for which he fashioned the earth and placed humanity upon it. He revealed to me that such destruction happened because the human race had grown selfish. He showed me how humanity had turned from his ways. He let me understand how hatred and pride and the lust for power had consumed the hearts of men. And he made it clear that when humanity chooses such a path, the forces of destruction are unleashed. I understood then what he was telling me, even though he did not speak the words directly. He was showing me another war. A third great war. A conflict that would make everything that had come before look like minor skirmishes. He did not call it by the name we would use, but deep in my spirit, I knew he was showing me what the world would come to call World War III. He then told me something that made my heart sink. He revealed that what happened in the Second World War, as terrible as it was, would be small compared to what is coming if the path is not altered. What he showed me next was so detailed, so specific, that I have hesitated to share it until now. But the Lord has made it clear that the time for hesitation has passed. He revealed to me that in this year, as December approaches, events will be set in motion that cannot easily be stopped. He showed me that around the 27th of December, the United States will take action against Russian citizens within its borders. He let me see that many will be arrested. He revealed that some will be executed. I watched the scenes play out before me. I saw arrest after arrest. I saw detention facilities filling with people. I saw news broadcasts spreading the information across the globe. I saw the faces of families torn apart, of children crying for parents being taken away, of confusion and fear spreading like wildfire. He then showed me the response. He revealed that this action will spark outrage among the Russian people. He let me see movements forming, violent and passionate, seeking revenge for what they perceive as persecution of their countrymen. He showed me protests turning into riots in multiple cities, both in Russia and in nations with significant Russian populations. I watched as the violence escalated. What started as fists became knives. What started as knives became guns. He showed me how the Russian government would respond to pressure from its people. He revealed the retaliatory measures that would follow. He then showed me how what begins as civil unrest will grow into something far worse. He revealed that the fighting will spread beyond streets and into military engagement. I saw troops mobilizing. I saw tanks rolling across borders. He showed me aircraft engaging aircraft in the skies over Europe. He let me see ships firing upon ships in waters that had known peace for decades. The escalation was terrifying to watch. Each action brought a reaction. Each reaction brought a stronger response. He showed me how pride would prevent leaders from backing down. He revealed how fear would drive decisions that should never be made. He let me see how anger would blind men to the consequences of their choices. And then he showed me the moment that changes everything. He revealed to me the missiles rising from their silos. I saw them launching from Russia, from China, from North Korea. I saw American missiles responding, streaking across the sky toward their targets. He showed me the weapons of ultimate destruction being unleashed upon the earth. I watched cities I recognized disappear in blinding flashes of light. He showed me New York vanishing in an instant. He revealed Los Angeles consumed by fire. He let me see Washington, D.C. reduced to rubble and ash. And then he showed me Virginia Beach, my home, where Jennifer and the girls would be waiting for me to come back from deployment. I watched it disappear. The mushroom clouds rose into the sky like monuments to human foolishness. He showed me how the radiation would spread, carried by winds that respected no borders. He revealed how the fallout would poison land and water for generations to come. But the nuclear exchange was only the beginning. He showed me how alliance nations would be drawn into the conflict. He revealed that NATO would honor its commitments, bringing more nations into the war. He let me see other alliances activating, countries that had tried to remain neutral being forced to choose sides. He showed me how what begins between two powers will eventually consume the entire world. I watched the maps changing before my eyes. He showed me borders disappearing as armies advanced and retreated. He revealed entire regions becoming wastelands of radiation and ruin. He let me see naval battles of terrifying scale, with ships sinking and sailors drowning in waters that burned with oil and fire. He showed me the land warfare. I saw armies clashing across Europe, across Asia, across the Middle East. He revealed combat in places that had known peace for generations. He showed me ancient cities reduced to rubble, historical monuments destroyed in moments, entire civilizations worth of heritage erased by bombs and missiles. He showed me the sky darkened by the smoke of 100 burning cities. He revealed how the sun would be blocked out in some regions, how temperatures would drop, how crops would fail. He let me see the beginning of famines that would claim almost as many lives as the weapons themselves. But the worst part of what he showed me was not the military destruction. It was the human cost. He showed me families. He revealed to me a mother clutching her infant as the flash consumed them both. I watched her final moment, her body curling around her child in a futile attempt to protect what could not be protected. He showed me a father trying to shield his son from a blast wave. I saw the love in that father's eyes, the desperate determination to save his child. And I saw how the wave moved faster than human reflexes could respond, taking them both in an instant. He revealed elderly couples holding hands as the world ended around them. I saw their faces, peaceful in a strange way, accepting what could not be changed but refusing to face it alone. He showed me hospitals. I saw burn victims filling every bed, every hallway, every available space. He revealed the doctors and nurses trying to help, but with no medicine, no supplies, no hope to offer. I watched people dying in agony because there was nothing anyone could do for them. He showed me the orphans. This was perhaps the hardest thing to witness. I saw children wandering through rubble, calling for parents who would never answer. He revealed their confusion, their fear, their hunger. He let me see how some of them would wander until they could walk no more, and then simply lie down and wait for death to find them. He showed me refugee columns stretching for miles along destroyed highways. He revealed families carrying whatever they could salvage, walking toward safety that did not exist. He let me see how disease would spread through these columns, how hunger would weaken them, how despair would break their spirits. He showed me the breakdown of society. He revealed how quickly civilization would collapse when the systems people depended on stopped functioning. He let me see violence between survivors fighting over food and water. He showed me how the worst of human nature would emerge when the structures of order disappeared. He revealed to me how many nations would simply cease to exist. He showed me smaller countries absorbed by larger ones, or simply abandoned as their populations fled or died. He let me see how the map of the world would be redrawn by fire and death. He showed me the numbers. I cannot speak them aloud even now. The millions upon millions who would perish in the initial exchanges. The tens of millions more who would die in the weeks and months that followed. The generations that would be affected by radiation and its consequences. I had served in war zones for over a decade. I had seen death in many forms. I had witnessed things that most people only read about in history books. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared me for the scale of what he was showing me. I fell to my knees, unable to bear the weight of it any longer. But before he responded to my anguish, he showed me one more thing. And this, perhaps, was the most disturbing vision of all. He directed my attention to a realm beyond the physical. I saw what I can only describe as the kingdom of darkness. A vast, cavernous space filled with beings of shadow and malice. Demons, countless in number, their forms twisted and terrible beyond description. And they were celebrating. The sounds of their revelry were horrific, shrieks and howls of perverse joy echoing through that hellish domain. And I soon understood why. Souls. He showed me rivers of souls flowing into that dark kingdom. Millions upon millions of human beings who had died unprepared. He revealed to me that these were people who had been going about their daily lives one moment and facing eternal judgment the next. He let me see people who had always assumed they had more time. He showed me those who had put off dealing with spiritual matters, confident that tomorrow would always come. But tomorrow had come with a flash of nuclear fire, and they had not been ready. He let me watch as demons feasted on the despair of these souls. He showed me how the forces of hell grew stronger with each new arrival. He revealed the kingdom of darkness celebrating what would be the greatest harvest of souls in human history. Even as a hardened soldier, even as a man who had killed in service to his country, I could not bear it. I wept. I fell on my face and wept for those lost souls, for their families who had also perished, for the children whose innocence had been stolen by forces beyond their understanding. I cried out for mercy. I pleaded with everything in me for the Lord to have mercy on them, to have mercy on us all. I felt his hand on my shoulder, gentle but firm, raising me up once more. He began to speak to my heart again. He told me that it is not his will that anyone should perish. He revealed that it is not his desire that any soul should spend eternity separated from his love. He showed me his heart, how he wants all people to come to repentance, how he desires all to find salvation, how he wishes all could be spared the horrors I had witnessed. I looked into his eyes and saw tears there too. The creator of the universe was weeping for his creation. But then he revealed something else to me. He told me that just as his love has no end, so too is the will of man endless in its capacity for selfishness. He showed me how human pride, human greed, and human lust for power are the forces that drive nations toward destruction. And he made it clear that if his people do not rise up, if his children do not intercede, then the path I had seen will become reality. I asked him what could be done. I wanted to know what one man could do against such forces. He revealed something to me then that filled me with hope despite everything I had witnessed. He told me that one man alone can do nothing. But he showed me that one man connected to the Father, one woman crying out in prayer, one child lifting innocent hands to heaven, these can move mountains. He revealed that such prayers can stop missiles. He showed me that united prayer can turn the hearts of kings and presidents and generals. He placed both hands on my shoulders, and I felt him looking directly into my soul. He told me to tell his children to pray. He revealed that they must seek his face day and night. He showed me that their prayers are not empty words floating into an uncaring universe. He made it clear that their prayers are weapons. He revealed that their prayers are shields. He showed me that their prayers are the only force on earth that can stop what is coming. I asked him if people would listen. I expressed my doubt, telling him that I am just a soldier and wondering who would believe me. He revealed to me that some will listen and some will not. But he made it clear that my job is not to convince them. He showed me that my responsibility is simply to deliver the message. He told me that he will do the rest. The vision began to fade around us. I could feel myself being pulled back toward my physical body, back toward that frozen village in Ukraine. I asked him if I would see him again, desperate for more time in his presence. He revealed to me that I would see him sooner than I think. But he showed me that there is work to be done first. He told me to go back, to live, to love my wife and daughters, and to speak what I have seen. The last thing he revealed to me before I returned to my body was this. He told me that he is coming soon. And he showed me that he is coming for a bride who has been on her knees, preparing the way through prayer. I woke up screaming. My chest was on fire. Every nerve in my body was shrieking in agony. I was strapped to a gurney in a military medical helicopter, the thunder of the rotors drowning out my cries. A Navy corpsman was checking my vitals, and when he saw my eyes open, his own eyes went wide with disbelief. He told me that they had lost me for 11 minutes. 11 minutes of being clinically dead. But it felt like I had been with Jesus for hours. Time, as I would come to understand, works very differently in the spiritual realm. The recovery was long and painful. Multiple surgeries. Months of rehabilitation. Endless questions from military doctors and psychologists who could not explain how I had survived wounds that should have been fatal. I told them only what they needed to hear. Some experiences are too sacred to share with those who would reduce them to medical anomalies. But I told Jennifer everything. My wife, my rock, my partner in all things. She held me as I wept through the telling, and when I finished, she did not look at me like I was crazy. She took my hands and prayed with me, right there in that hospital room, prayed for the nations, prayed for our daughters, prayed for the world that teeters on the brink of destruction. That was 2 years ago. Since then, I have shared this testimony on various platforms as the Lord has directed. I have spoken in churches and home groups and online gatherings. Some have believed. Many have dismissed me as a traumatized soldier with PTSD-induced hallucinations. I expected as much. But the Lord told me to speak what I saw, and that is what I will continue to do. Look around you. Look at what is happening in the world today. The tensions between superpowers continue to escalate. Military buildups proceed at unprecedented rates. Threats and counter-threats fly across diplomatic channels like artillery shells. Cyber attacks target critical infrastructure with increasing frequency and severity. The pieces are falling into place, exactly as I was shown. December approaches. The events that could trigger the cascade I witnessed are closer than ever. But it does not have to be this way. The future is not fixed. The prayers of God's people can alter the trajectory of nations. I think about Emma and Grace every day. They are 10 years old now, full of life and joy and innocent hope for the future. They do not know about the vision. They do not know that their daddy saw worlds ending in fire and darkness. But they know how to pray. Jennifer and I have made sure of that. One night, as I was tucking them in, Emma asked me why I pray so much now. She noticed that I never used to pray this much. I brushed the hair from her face and smiled. I told her that I had learned how important prayer is. I explained that prayer is the most powerful weapon we have. She looked at me with those eyes that remind me so much of her mother. She asked if prayer is even more powerful than guns. I told her that it is much more powerful than guns. I explained that guns can only destroy, but prayer can save. She seemed to accept that, as children do, filing it away in whatever category her young mind reserves for adult mysteries. But I knew the truth of what I had told her. I had seen it with my own eyes. I had watched darkness consume nations and fire reduce flags to ash. And I had learned that the only force capable of standing against such destruction is the united prayer of God's children. So here is my plea to all who hear this testimony. Pray. Pray like the world depends on it, because it does. Pray for your nation. Pray for all nations. Pray for leaders who hold the power of life and death in their hands. Pray that their hearts would be turned toward peace rather than war, toward wisdom rather than pride, toward mercy rather than vengeance. Pray for the events of December. Pray that what I saw can be prevented. Pray that cooler heads will prevail, that diplomatic solutions will be found, that the cascade toward destruction will be interrupted by divine intervention. Fast. Seek God's face. Repent of the selfishness that infects us all. Ask the Lord to search your heart and remove anything that stands between you and His presence. Gather others to pray with you. One person praying in faith can stop a nuclear missile. A church united in prayer can save a city. A nation that turns back to God can prevent a war. The window of opportunity is still open, but it will not remain open forever. The clock is ticking. The forces of darkness are moving. The only question is whether God's people will rise to meet this moment with the urgency it demands. I died in the mountains along the borders of eastern Ukraine on September 19, 2025. I came back with a message that was revealed to me by Jesus Christ Himself. That message is simple. Pray like never before, and do it now. The war I saw does not have to happen. Nuclear fire does not have to fall from the sky. Nations do not have to disappear from the map. Millions of souls do not have to flood into the kingdom of darkness unprepared. But it will take more prayer than the church has ever offered. It will take fasting and repentance on a scale not seen since the days of Nineveh. It will take God's people understanding that they are not powerless observers in the drama of history but active participants with the authority to shape the future through intercession. He revealed to me that He is coming for a bride that has been on her knees. He showed me that He is coming for a church that understands the power of prayer and has not been afraid to use it. He is coming for believers who took seriously the call to watch and pray. When he comes, will he find you on your knees? The choice is yours. The time is now. And eternity hangs in the balance. I have delivered the message the Lord gave me. Now it is up to you to decide what to do with it. May God have mercy on us all.